Hello. So, we've made it to game 3. It's probably... well, it's definitely the game where you feel the most powerful of any in the series. Part of that, at least for me, is going to be one of the features of the collection, which is not necessarily something that wasn't possible in the original game, but what happened was they had these things called mod cards, and they were a way to connect 0, 3, and one of the Battle Network games, I think 4. I don't know how they work or anything, but it was basically just a cross promotion, and as a result, we get to modify the 0-3 experience a bit. The primary one is around the resistance base. There's a lot of like random stuff, like extra characters and stuff you can put in the base, but the much more directly notable one is there's a series of cards that just increase the power of different weapons. So I'm looking at 4 extra damage with all weapons. On top of everything you get to carry over with New Game Plus. Anyway, recap time. Hello. So between 1 and 2 is a year gap, but between 2 and 3 is only 2 months. Why would you say something like that? Zero's just not having this. Please stop saying things that are going to jinx everyone. We're trying to do something here. Hey, cool, giant sword. So, before we get started, we have some things to get together. First thing, we no longer have to level up our weapons, so we have our full capabilities from the start. Second, we have these body part chips. They're basically the same in function as like Mega Man X armor parts, except for the body. But for the head, we have we heal while standing still, auto charge weapon, and fast charge. I'm going to be using auto charge. For the body, we have the typical elemental chips, and we also have no recoil, and crumbling blocks don't crumble. I'll sit on that one for the moment. For the foot, we have a lot of options. There's the ability to hop on the surface of water, double jump, dash is invincible, slower wall sliding, ignore ice, move speed, and the secret one, all of it. Yeah. Oh, also, because we don't have the weird form system, now the just the different elements change our color, so that it's more X-like in that manner too. We have another complement of EX skills that I already unlocked, so I'll just turn all this on. We've got reflecting charge shot. They're using thunder. They will instead split and run across walls. With flame chip, they'll explode, and with ice, it'll shoot. I actually don't remember exactly what it is, but some kind of ice needle-y type thing. Then with the saber, we can hold down to shoot a wind slash ahead, up to do a uppercut, down in the air to do a downward like slam into the ground, and while dashing we do a skewer type thing. 3 of these are enhanced by chips as well. Like with thunder, this will be electric type. With flame, this will be fiery, and with ice, this will be a longer and stronger ice wave. This one doesn't change with anything. Then with the shield boomerang, we get one that lets it roll across the ground. One that, while holding down and releasing, it'll instead spin around us for a few seconds. Then the other 2 are related to a weapon we don't know about yet. The other big change with this game is the way cyber elves work. There are 3 types now that we've researched more about them and know how to use them better. There are fusion elves. They're the kind we're used to. You use them once, they're gone forever. Then there are satellite elves. You can equip them to 2 different slots, and then they persistently execute their function. And the third one is hybrid elves, which can be swapped back and forth between being a satellite or a fusion elf. I tend to keep them as satellite elves because using these doesn't cost you anything. The only downside is there are only 2 you can utilize. So I'll use a faster charge and the double max health. So I don't even have to do the thing I've been doing with the previous games where I just use a couple for enough convenience to hold together, because I already have a couple to use. So that's all the stuff we have access to. Just, yeah. Because we have the auto charge, it's a whole lot easier to just do things. Like, just run around and use charge attacks and not have to worry too much about significant, like, holding buttons and complex inputs. Because all you have to do is basic attack to execute your charges, as long as you've waited long enough. So Zero is pretty obviously fairly uptight about the about something. We don't really know what, but I always presumed it was just the time between main games. He always ends up kind of closing off until the next one starts. So he's kind of like just kind of fed up with random rote stuff. Because he's, you know, let's be honest, he was built to fight things. Peace was never really his strong suit. So there's definitely something in here. What could possibly be doing all of this? Whatever it is, it's even giving the Guardians a run for their money. So this is Omega. This thing has some very interesting patterns regarding the way this game considers range and spacing in its attacks. Unfortunately, it's only doing this one attack twice, but even then, it very obviously shows their like concepts of like standing, dashing, and jumping. because it's a stable pattern, and it's always you jump over this, you don't be far away, you dash under, don't be close, and that's the sequence. So whatever Omega is, all of the Guardians know full well that it's not something to take lightly. However, our new friend here, Lord Vile, so, to make matters even worse, Copy X is back. And he's a little more buggy sounding than before. Commencing trans. Dang, I lost a point for not killing enough enemies. Oh well. So, secret discs are the manner of collectibles in this game, as opposed to finding wild cyber elves and upgrades. again, they are going out of their way to tell people, hey, this new weapon is cool, you should use it. Of course, this one is also a lot less problematically designed than the chain rod was, in that it doesn't force you to use it in places that will get you to die like 8 times before it actually works right. So all of these like posters and graffiti and plants and stuff, these are all mod card features. Most of them are just pointless stuff like this, but there's a lot of stuff around the base. I'd actually like to take a trip around for once. You get a lot of cats around with the mod cards, so that's probably the most important part. Anyway, the secret discs are... like, they can hold some of the chip upgrades. They also have just information about different things. Such as this one, explaining that the Pantheon, which are the generic mechanoid enemies that we fight a whole lot of, are apparently mass-produced copies of X. And all of the cyber elves you get, you pick up through collecting discs. There are a bunch that just come with a bunch of crystals for you. And then there's a bunch that are just like basically short bios of enemies and other characters. Such as this jerk. The reason why some of them are unread is because if you want to get 100%, there are 10 discs in every stage, including the final stage. So you can get all of the discs in the final stage, but you can't come back to read them until you start a new game plus. Now let's have a look around the base. So we didn't step outside of the command room once in 2. Seal. So up here at the top, it's currently night. That is also a mod card thing. You can make it night, you can make it snowy, you can do other stuff like that. You can also do these flowers. There's this cyber elf. Mysterious, but so cyberspace is another new thing about this game. The stages have these like cyber gates, for lack of a better way to put it, and when you go in one, you get the effects of all of your elves, whether or not you've used the ones that you haven't used. And just you have all of that capability, but you can't do any bosses in it, and you get a point penalty for going in if it's during a mission. So in Z3, if you have the right mod card, it'll tell you about a secret in 02. Great, that was in there. So that is another regular benefit of the mod cards that add people to the base. They often just give you energy crystals for talking to them. So for that reason, if you're using the mod card system, the level of grind in this game is significantly less than it would have been otherwise. And if you didn't have those mod cards, these rooms would just be empty. And of course, I already have that one. So this is the old man Reploid, but because I used a mod card, he looks not old instead. Kind of a minor change there, but you know, a lot of the mod cards are like that. She gives you a lot of crystals. And yeah, she is one of the people that we rescued back in 01. And that was somebody that was guarding the subway. Also from the first game. It says hall, but sometimes when I'm dashing in real fast, it kind of looks like it says hell. I don't know. I actually think he is one of the best workers around the base. Like from game to game, he's definitely very proactive about keeping things together. Not at the start of the first game, but ever since then. There's a lot of cats in this room. And there's this guy who always just complains about being given basic duties. But even if he doesn't like it, he does a good job. What was that? You have fish. Well, that's the base. It's a very simple layout, but it's also pretty efficient in that same sense. No, I'm looking for 4, not 3. So this is another mod card edition, but it's implied to be El Piso as an elf. As for why the elves look all not like you would normally expect them, that's also a mod card thing. Alright, so I think I'm gonna go to... No, I'm not doing that one first. I'll go to this one first. If this is the one I remember, I actually really like the track of this one, mostly because it goes for something pretty different than most of the music of the series does. This also might not be the one I'm thinking of, but... No, it's either something later or something from 2 that I already missed. So, recoil rod. It's just it's basically like a tonfa or something, but you just thrust it forward, you can thrust it up, you can thrust it down, you can mash to do this fast attack. And its charge attack is a force thrust that very much can throw things around and knock them back and everything. You can also use it to do a super jump. These enemies are mean. So that's one of these cyberspace doors. I'm not going to use them, but if you wanted to make use of all of your on-hold cyber elves, that's where you would go. Ow. Attention me, get hit less. Actually, for a moment, I'm going to change one of my elves. Because this is very much kill you lava, I'm going to get the lava doesn't kill you one active. In return, we don't have fast charge, but that's okay. Yeah, this place wasn't the one that had the song I was thinking of. Maybe it'll come up later. So one of the things Recoil Rod can do, objects like this, you can just smash them out of the way with a charge attack. And those enemies do a flamethrower thing in one direction until you hit them with a recoil charge. That'll make them turn around. They'll also do it after a while, but it's really slow to do it that way. This lasts either 30 seconds or until you kill a certain amount. So doing a good job can still be beneficial for your time. So earlier I hit a container that just kind of got pushed off screen over some spikes. we'll see what that got for me soon. Actually, right here. It means we can go up here, and there would be a secret disc with a good elf on it. Ow. So one of the downsides of the invisible or invincible dash is you also can't pick up stuff in the middle of a dash. No, not you. Give me clock friend. And we'll need thunder chip. So apparently, while he was stuck, banished to space, Vile was creating his own set of bosses, because of course he would. I need to get used to the fact that I have a double jump, because I've been so accustomed to not double jumping that it's hard to utilize it properly. Still doing okay, but I took quite a lot, far too much damage. So this stage is actually one of the harder ones in the game to do correctly, quote-unquote. So in this stage we're going to be chasing a underwater craft and also looking for buttons before it reaches them in order to slow it down. Which means the boss is going to be yelling at us all stage. So you're ice, so let's go fire. There's one. I think I missed it though, because I was just as it was about to destroy the button and stop me from benefiting from it. And then sometimes you just jump right into spikes. Because you're definitely paying attention. Ah well. Maybe I should just not have the fast charge and keep the anti-spike at all times. And not just usually. Whoops. This is a stage where I generally just say, forget the expected objective, I'm just gonna survive and take a lot of score damage at the end, but it's fine. So it gets slowed down a lot because it has to go down, and when it has to go down, it has to crash through a bunch of stuff like that. Oh, hi, Dark Elf. Now this looks like it's gonna be fine. Basically, Dark Elf can turn anything into at least a mini-boss. Oh, you just step on it. Gotcha. So if 0-2 was like the start of them depending too much on spikes, 3 is when they go overboard, to put it simply. Well, at least my score for this stage was pretty nice. Even if I fell from S to B. Oh, I guess I already fell to A earlier. Never mind. Just me pretending I'm able to get high scores in this. Okay. Simple enough mission. Get rid of weapons factory. As one of my favorite bosses, generally speaking. Nice. So yeah, these hammers, you can hit them with the recoil rod to make them swing real fast, but usually that's not actually helpful. It's like, oh boy, you can make this a more aggressive obstacle if you really wanted. Speaking of recoil rod, can break out the ceiling here. So normally I would sink down into this like moving part stuff and it would be a huge pain, but because I have the light foot thing, I don't sink. No, that's the body part. So you can recoil rod that thing while it's closed, and it doesn't appear to do damage, just kind of makes it rumble, but it does, I'm pretty sure it does hurt it. Yeah, they did a good job of making the recoil rod effective as a weapon in this, and also making its interactions with the field not a huge pain like they were in 2. You're like, hey guys, we actually made it fairly well coded this time. So you're electric, so let's bring ice. And we'll pull out the fast charge again. It's mostly going to be me changing between the fast charge and the anti-spike, but there's a lot of different situations you can pull out a specific elf for if you need it. This is one of the neatest bosses, I think. Flawless edge boy, if you say so. I don't think this playthrough has been any of those, but well, okay, it has been edge. I'll give him that part. Alright, the fourth one probably has the boss that's my favorite of the four to actually fight against. It's one that will just kind of overwhelm you and feel impossible the first time you see it, but once you actually understand the attacks, it's a pretty neat boss. So this level is kind of a huge maze, and it's really easy to get lost and just spend way longer than is necessary. Part of it is there are all these doors. You can go in them, and a lot of them actually have good stuff inside, including shortcuts to further into the stage, but I'm just gonna go straight through because I don't need anything. I think that one down there specifically was a decent shortcut. Oh well. The baby elves. This is basically how they talk. They basically repeat each other in slightly different words every single time they say anything. This is one room where you don't want to have the falling stuff doesn't fall body chip part, because you kind of have to get down. Ah, this thing. This is a good place to use the shield boomerang, but I just kind of fell out of favor with it a long time ago. It's everything I like, but the fact that you can't dash while holding it kind of ruins it as a viable option. So both of our free sub-tanks are full now. Yay. It only took 4 missions. Alright, I'm pretty sure this is one that doesn't have a weakness. Hello. Yeah, this one is definitely one of the better in the series. I'm actually torn on what my actual tier list of favorites is. I have a unreasonable attraction to the first game, but that's because it's the only one I actually owned as a kid, so I played it way more than any other. It doesn't waste any time. Now the question is, am I actually going to be able to do well at this boss? Not worried about losing or not, but it's also got a cool intro. Yeah, fortunately I don't have to worry too much about performing well enough to earn them, because I'm on New Game Plus, which I guess is maybe a little cheaty, but yeah, whatever. I'm not here to prove that I'm good at the game. So, Dr. Vile is the one that created the Dark Elf. Or, more specifically, he is the one that corrupted the Mother Elf into the Dark Elf. Okay, so we've got our first intermission. Yeah, the music is probably one of the most memorable and attractive points of the series. Here we are with X. He'll do things right this time. Does not come off nearly as positive as you make it seem. So, of course, X steps the four guardians down and puts Vile in charge of everything, because that's definitely only going to go well. It's almost like they're playing every single, like, well-known regime control card. So Omega, they put on a missile that's being launched at the missile factory we're going out to investigate. Which also could only go well. We're also firing at a residential district because, well, we're not totally sure yet, but... doesn't matter because we have to stop that anyway. Give me 1 second, please. So we are on the missile. And, as a missile, it's going to be detaching parts as we go. So it's kind of a soft time limit, but not really. Like, it's not going to go without us. It's more of a set piece that they'll break away as we're getting to them. It's just to look cool, which mission successful, I think. So they have a shared health bar, but they have independent hitboxes. So if you want to finish the fight quickly, you can kind of go back and forth. Except for during that attack. And of course, they weren't trying to beat us, they were just trying to hold us off long enough to force an escape. Alright, so we've got Dark Elf and the Baby Elves and Omega all together. Now Omega has only gotten more powerful. Harpuya has directly turned against X and File as well. But for now, we just need to get out of there. Well, we're getting a hacked-in transmission. So, this is the scene where they're finally offering to give us what we were hoping to achieve, which is trading in the new energy system for peace. However, because it's now Copy X and Vile making the offer, Seal is not comfortable going through with it because she can't trust them. So X claims that we are hoarding a monopoly. And because we have Zero, who is, let's be honest, he's just a war machine. They're now claiming us to be extremists, and, worthy of nothing but being hunted down and destroyed. And now we're on under attack from 3 different directions by the return of 3 bosses from the first game. So the track for this stage is kind of a down-tempo variant of the one for the forest stages in 2. And it's also kind of the same sort of area. The gimmick being buttons that raise and lower these crushing blocks. This is also where I concluded was the best place to farm energy crystals in this game for once that becomes a necessity. That is right here at this particular spot. So what we do is we take out the shield boomerang. And let's see. That was just a satellite I have to equip. Yeah, so if I perfect block with the shield boomerang, I need to, if I'm going to do this briefly, I need to turn off the auto charge. This was basically it. Just a short exhibition of how that worked. I did that for, I don't know, this game required the least total crystals of any of them, but it was still like, I don't know, I want to say 4,000 total that I had to farm up, and you get them 4 at a time for each of those perfect blocks. Which if you get 4 of them, that's a lot more than just 4, but still takes a fair bit of time. Yeah, I'll run with the shield boomerang here. I think I'm gonna need thunder. And of course this one would harken to the hero of history as the one that wins and gets to write the history books. This being an ice place, or at least an ice boss, I'll switch over to fire early. I'll probably pull the recoil rod back out because there's probably going to be something that benefits from it. This stage is kind of spiky, but I'm not too worried about it because being underwater and having double jump gives you a lot of control over not falling into them. I say that now, but remind me that I said that in the 2 minutes when I dive face first into some. Fortunately, not too complicated of a level. That was a very good score. I'm surprised with myself. Okay, so there's one more group, and we'll be at the next intermission. Actually, due to the quicksand here, I'm going to switch to the light foot body, so I don't have to worry about getting mucked up in it. Should be close now. Alright, so we had one that was weak to fire and one that was weak to thunder, so presumably you're weak to ice? Seems so. That's one more down. So we've completed 2 sets of bosses, so that means we're approaching the end game, right? It looks like we're going out to Neo Arcadia to fight Copy X again, so sounds endish to me. And they are looking out for us as we speak. Nice big emergency signs. Speaking of emergency, we have spikes. Okay, so these close for very brief windows, and you have to dash through them while they're closed. But because I have the invincible dash, it doesn't care about them As long as I'm dashing through. If you don't, you get these things that zoom in from the top and bottom. And this room is I'm not going to say this is the worst room in the series, but it's a hot contender. Why? Because moving platforms and spikes everywhere, and also the platforms are trying to kill you. Kind of like that. Actually, I'm going to switch to no recoil, so in case I get hit, I don't have to worry about getting knocked back into something I don't want. So of course, Neo Arcadia, being the force in control, is claiming that they must be the heroes because they're fighting for the humans, when the truth of the matter is they've deliberately obscured humans from the reality of the truth, which is also pretty much Fascism 101. Admittedly, charge attacks are not the most efficient way to fight anything that doesn't have a weakness, but it's still what I'm most used to by a significant margin. So, True X appears to tell X that Vile is not backing him up and has already taken off. And that X was copy X Mark II was just another pawn of part of his game. And Vile has even trapped X's body, that if he tries to use the pinnacle of his power, he'll instead just go haywire. And explode immediately. Almost as if Vile intended for him to die, regardless of whether he won or lost. So that Vile can go on the news and tell all of the totally in-the-know humans that the extremists have destroyed the leader of Neo-Arcadia yet again, and that now he will gladly take charge as the new ruler of Neo-Arcadia. So X wants to tell us something about Omega, but he says, "Nah, don't worry about it. The heart's what counts, not the body." Who gave you lines? You're just the operator. Okay, so now we have a third set of stages for the other 4 of Vile's numbers. Then we'll be at the end game for real. First I'll be going for Qubit Foxtar. Probably one of the hardest bosses to figure out the patterns of in the whole series. Even if you know it, like what's expected of you, it's still hard to like grasp what and when to do to actually avoid it. Also, hello. Thank you for the resub. Yeah, you would think there should be an extra U in there, but nope, not that kind of Foxtar. Maybe this is the place with the song I was thinking of. No, I don't think it's this one either. I probably missed it from one of the other games then. It was probably one of the tracks in 2. These things are annoying. They eventually shoot, and that's the only time you can actually hurt them. Otherwise, you just knock them down and go past. So there are these moth enemies all over this section. If you can turn on the light by hitting the conductory thingy with an electric attack, they'll go up toward the lights at the ceiling instead, and it's a bit safer to get through. So these generators have those, it's either 6 or 8 things to knock off of the wall, and they will be instantly pushed all the way in with the recoil rod, because that's more of a force weapon, but it's not the only way to get them down, but it's essential to getting them all down in one rotation. Okay. This seems like a alternating 2 weakness boss, but it's not really. Just wait for the openings and punish. The fire hits low, the ice hits high. There's a bit of a safe spot right here, anytime other than when the fire attacks, because it'll come down and hit you. Oh, this room. This is another one of the... Well, not this room in particular, but this is one of the worst stage gimmicks. I'm going to switch over to spike resistance, because spikes. Ow. I mistaked. So what you're supposed to do is stand on one side of one of those girders so that it lowers down enough that you can get under the spikes coming in. Also, spike resistance is not necessarily you will always take only a bit of damage from spikes. It's the first time you take a bit of damage. The second time, if it's too soon, you die. we go. Ow. Okay, so now we have the Frogger room. Much simpler, but you can get to the top left for a rather important item chip, but it takes a lot of work to actually get up there safely. Alright, Foxtar. So they're copying the Dark Elf itself here, creating more baby elves. So welcome to Ninetales. I'm disagreeing with all of that assessment, but if that's what they think. Perfect is the last word I would use to describe that performance, considering, like, 2 of her attacks I just have no idea how to not get hit by them, at least once, if not 3 times. Alright, time for Cactus. So of course the Cactus boss is ice-coated and in a snowfield. That's how it should be, right? don't think I need spike protection here, but mark my words, in about 30 seconds. Oh, this stage. I actually like this stage. So you can hitch a ride on these things and just kind of coast for a while. Whoops, accidentally turned it around. Whoop. Please no pit. So if you're going for cyber elves, which I already have, one of the most annoying ones in the game is you have to go into that mini-boss and just wait for him to spawn waves of like mini-worms, and you have to kill a certain number of them before you can actually get that elf to spawn. But that's the whole stage. It's fairly just quick and fun. Like, all of the pits have covering over them. You can just ride a thing through like 3/4 of the stage if you're playing it right. So all we really know about Omega is that it was created by Dr. Vile, and it's very, very bad, and it is the thing that he was using that made him worthy of being banished to space for 100 years. Well, it was supposed to be banished to space forever, but if he never came back, then we wouldn't have a series anymore. And there was Ice Cactus. He came and went rather quickly. So this game has, not by a very large margin, but it has the most stages of any game in the series, but in exchange for that, more of them are simpler and more streamlined to get through, and I think that's a point in favor. This one, though, is not. It's very much not a quick and streamlined stage. This is just an old, abandoned library. More like a data center than anything, but... So, gimmick for the first half of the level. There's a rising and falling water level, and once it gets over a certain level where there are some exposed wires, the water electrifies and hurts you. Actually, I'm going to switch to Buster for here, because it's important for getting these friends to flip over. Heck. That's what happens if you just get caught underwater. You take like 3 or 4 damage per set of iframes. You're still under. So here's the data room, which is going to lead us to the second and much longer half of the stage. So there are all these doors in the data area. We need to find the correct ones to get the information we need to complete the mission. So what I did last time I played was I took some screenshots, and I'm going to see if those screenshots still work or if they are random rooms. Give me just a second to get this up here. Okay, they are not the same as last time, so... Take some new screenshots for these. Oh, sorry. Smacked my mic there. Okay. Alright, now we get to go look for those same doors, based on the combination of colored doors that are around them. So nothing is ever on the very top or very bottom, because there has to be a full set of 9 around each door. So first I'm looking for the blue one. Nope, not this one. Nope. Not that one. This one. Creator of Omega altered the Mother Elf, sparking the Elf Wars. Banished from Neo Arcadia after the Elf Wars. So we're looking for a yellow one, not that one. This one. Omega, the ultimate Reploid created by Dr. Vile, possesses incredible power when combined with the Dark Elf, banished to outer space to avoid another Elf War. We're looking for another yellow one. This one. So each of the 4 rooms with a correct disc is a different layout. And, well, first, a Dark Elf. Officially known as the Mother Elf, creator unknown. The Cyber Elf was originally created for the purpose of restoring Maverick programs to their original state, but the Mother Elf was altered by Dr. Vile, so she could be used to manipulate Reploids by freely rewriting programs. Although the organized fighting of the Reploids manipulated by the altered Mother Elf did end the wars, this terrible power was sealed off to prevent misuse. Last one is a green door. But anyway, which of the rooms you pick up the last disc in is going to become the boss arena? Elf Wars. Very little actually usable data. So for you, we're gonna need ice. That is not what I expected to come up. Okay, a little slow, but I kind of took my time finding the right doors, so I'm not surprised. Okay, and this will be the last one before the endgame stretch. Using a giant elevator to carry something up from underground. I think I'm going to need the no crumblies here. I don't think I need spike protection though. I think after this I might farm that one up near the start of the stage, because if I'm completely honest, I do not feel confident about my ability to easily no-death the end game. Alright, here's the elevator itself, which means combat auto-scroller. So these things, you can just recoil rod to shove them off the edge pretty easily, but they don't actually go down easily otherwise. Alright, and consists of most of the stage. It's not over yet, but... You know what? I'm not even gonna risk it. There's another boss with no weakness. It's also one of the more fun bosses. Okay, now we're ready to start the end game. Yeah, since the earlier mission, Harpuya has been locked up in the infirmary here. The one when he helped us attack Omega directly, despite it being directly against orders. That's a that's a good exchange there. They sure run you ragged, don't they? I'll be back later. So, when we were on the data collection mission, there was one that was like highly corrupt. We could read barely none of it, but they've managed to get the rest of the information out of it now. Elf Wars. Near the end of the Maverick Wars, many cyber elves were used. The period from this time until the end of the fighting was referred to as the Elf Wars as a result. So the Maverick Wars is the X series, basically. So the X series happened near the end of, like, between, like, the actual X games and now. The Maverick Wars escalated into the Elf Wars as cyber elves were created and put to use as basically ways to make the soldiers stronger. In particular, the use of the gigantic elf known as the Dark Elf, and copies of this elf known as Baby Elves, to amplify the power of Reploids, while still controlling said Reploids at will, made this the worst war in recorded history. While use of the Dark Elf brought the war to an end in 4 years, approximately 90% of all Reploids and 60% of all humans were wiped out. Uh-oh. Are the operators turning against us now? He's using Omega's power to control Reploids as they were in the Elf Wars. Fortunately, X can just magically disable the Dark Elf's power, but only in a localized area, so just the base is safe. I mean, isn't that basically what Mega Man and X were all along? The ones that were always too good to be corrupted, no matter what? Are you saying enigmatic things about knowing more than we do, and saying it'll be fine? The only thing I need to tell to Powered Up is you don't count. Well, I'm not saying it wasn't good. I'm just saying it also doesn't count. Once I'm done with this mission, somebody please remind me to go back and farm extra lives, so I'm not going into the final stage with just one. I don't trust this to not drop me onto spikes. So in this stage, there is a secret boss. I'll do it after the initial trip in. I'll come back and... well... Right. If you have the no falling blocks, ignore crumbling terrain thing, that actually increases your recoil. So for now, we'll switch to no recoil. I mean, technically, the entire continuity of this series doesn't count because the X series didn't end when this game infers it did. Unless you want to say that X, 6, 7, and 8 don't count, because that's also incredibly valid. And now I can swap fast charge back in. He's not bluffing. Like, if he controls all the Reploids, then he has, like, countless guns that could just turn on the humans all through Neo Arcadia. So we get an enhanced free fight with these two. Sorry, baby elves, but didn't have much of a choice. Alright, so I can end the game anytime I want, but first I have to head back to giant elevator a few times, because not far in there's easily obtained extra life. So a few minutes for a safety blanket. Thank you. A little, but that's okay. For once I needed to remember something and I actually did. Alright, so I'll do this one more time here, then I'll go to the stage that was after this to do the bonus fight. So in here, we're going to actually do the cyberspace thing, because it's the only way to do this. So, this is what it's like to go into cyberspace. All of your collected elves just zoop all in at once, and now you just have all the power. Which, only problem is I need to get my health filled. On the bright side, one of the effects I have here is double potency of item drops. So now I just need to get to the spot, which is up here. Now, only if you're in cyberspace will this door be here. And in here is Phantom. I thought he was dead. He is. That's why he's in the cyberspace and not the physical world. So he knows everything about the stuff people have been vague about to us as well. So it's basically the same fight, but he does a lot more. He's a lot more active with things. Largely, he just shoots a whole lot more kunai. But if you have every cyber elf under your command because you've been gathering stuff, it's no problem. And again, it leads to more vagaries about who and what we are and who and what Omega is, and things that'll hopefully be resolved soon enough. I mean, we're going to the last stage, right? Yeah, the Phantom fight is how you get the foot part that has all the other effects. So, on a normal game, you can't get that until you're ready to go to the end game, if you know he's there and go fight him. So they haven't really told us much about what exactly is going on here, but it all seems to come down to Omega every time. Which begs the question, and don't say anything if you know, but what do you think Omega is? So while we're on our way through Refight Heck and Spike's Heck, Okay. First 4. Alright, Frill Boy. You're gonna be as easy as the first time. We're gonna have a revisit to Friend soon after this one. But first, unfortunately, it's always the ones that, because they only have 3 weaknesses. It's always the one of the set of 4 that doesn't have one that ends up being the most involved and enjoyable, because having weaknesses and just bombarding them with charge attacks is just such a massive advantage. Unfortunately, not terribly powerful, if friend-shaped. Okay, now the second set. Please give me fire earlier, because I'm more likely to take more damage from that. Of course, I do have a workaround if I happen to lose a lot of health on the final one. Hey, I actually managed to no damage her. The weaknesses really, really trivialize bosses in this game in particular. Granted, they kind of do in all of them, but... I guess in 4 is the one where weaknesses disable bosses the least. And I think it's generally for the better, because you end up having to respect them a lot more than otherwise. Whoop. God, I switched to spike protection. Alright, so we're coming up on the final battle here. Hopefully I'll be able to do it in one, but to say I'm not exactly confident would be accurate. Actually, I'm gonna... I'm gonna see if I can use this to make sure I'm topped off. Actually, I have a means to top off quickly. Well, quickly. Okay. So, Dr. Vile is in fact a human. So his main point in asserting this is, we can't kill him unless we want to be a maverick. By the true definition of such. But for now, we have Omega to worry about first. So this first phase is basically the same as the one from the intro, but with some more attacks. Ultimately, not much to worry about. Next we get the most bombastic looking thing in existence. it's like it's got an X half, it's got a 0 half, and then it has omega too. But ultimately not a huge deal either. And after that, we land back here, right where we started. When we were originally awakened. He says we're fake. So, we're the copy, and Omega is the real 0. I'm gonna not talk during this fight, but I'm just gonna say that the invincible dash is going to be 90% of what's gonna carry me through this fight. And they are going to drive home pretty hard that this is actually actual 0. I'll just put it that way. Yeah, you can ignore a lot of the impact of his stuff, because the last hit of his like normal combo is where most of the damage comes from. Even the Guardians are having our back now. Of course, Vile's lost control. He doesn't actually have the trump card he thinks he does anymore. Or rather, the card that we think he has. Especially now that the Dark Elf is cleansing. So the truth is, Zero's in a body that's not his original, but it's still actually the Zero from the X series, and Omega is just the original body of Zero that was being used to power Omega. So the whole thing, yeah, is just kind of like Vile acts like that it's some big, like, impossible thing that he could never possibly overcome his true self, but nah. We're better than that. So, Vile is still out there. Still at large to be pursued tomorrow night, but for now, we've got a lot of closure on, I guess, the legacy of things. Because that was the last of Elf X's energy. He's not going to be able to project ourselves into the physical world anymore. Presumably, he's still going to exist in cyberspace, if what was true of Phantom is consistent, but... For now, at least, we can be sure that the things that happened in the Elf Wars can no longer happen again, which was, like, the main concern as we were going through this. When Omega first appeared, everybody was worried that the Elf Wars were going to end up repeating. And we've at least assured that's not going to happen, though we still have to stop Vile. It's like, I think it's neat that... I'm not sure how much of it was intentional, but, like, his name looks like Wily, but it's pronounced like Vile. And he's still the person that created... I guess he is Wily, because he's still the person that created Omega, and Omega is 0, unless Omega is a different... Unless he just created the Omega part, and the Zero's body fueling it was not his creation, but I don't know. But it's also pronounced like Vile, the recurring enemy from the X series, so it's like... And he's also clearly like a brain in a jar. Or a head in a jar, I suppose. With a human-like Reploid body. So I don't know, maybe it's like Vile's body with, like, Vile the X-enemy's body on, with Wily's head? I don't know. I'm not sure that they were going that deep with the etymology and everything, but I don't know. It's something that's left open to interpretation and stuff, so in a sense, all that matters is your theory is your own, and without any canon explanation, it's just as valid as any other. So you're free to interpret or not interpret as much of that as you want. But anyway, that's going to be it for me for tonight. Tomorrow's going to be the final game, 04. We'll get Vile taken care of. But yeah, as always, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's always nice to have that company. And hope to see you again next time. Have a nice evening, and take care.